Hi, we're here to introduce the rules to the Feats of Clay events, and the first event is the cylinder stack. Each team will get a full box of clay, which equals 2 blocks of 25 pounds. Clay can be opened, cut, and prepared for your team members before you start.
This event runs with 4 team members that will run in sequential order. Pete is throwing first to kind of show you how to get your first piece started. Like he said before, clay spheres may be prepared prior to the start of the event. The cylinders must be stacked in the 10-minute time frame, and you can stack them whenever you want within that 10 minutes. So as you see, he has one piece on the side that he had already thrown, and he is going like he's the second person in the event that is throwing, and he's throwing his second cylinder. These cylinders do not need to have bottoms. You can open all the way to the base and strategize as you will. As you take the pieces off, you can stack them when you want, and you can blend them together, but you cannot manipulate the clay to increase the height in any way as you are attaching them. You can use whatever tools you would like for this. And like I said, stack whenever you want. He's stacking right now, and this would be the time when the next team member hops on the wheel and throws their clays down and starts to throw.
The piece can be blended. Second piece can be blended to the first piece to make it stronger, inside and out, as the next person is throwing.
So as we said before, it's a relay event, and you have to keep going in order. You can't just have one person throwing on the wheel the entire time, and you can use whatever tools that you'd like. At the completion of stacking, team members must step away from the construction, and the stack will be measured. Any stack that falls prior to all the stacks being measured at the highest point is disqualified. The tallest stack wins. So like we said, he's got an open structure here. They don't need to have, it doesn't need to be open all the way through. They can have bottoms on it if that's how your team chooses to strategize, and you can attach them whenever you want.
So now my 10 minutes is almost up, and this is the last piece that I'm putting on my stack. The piece must be put on. It can be, again, like I said, blended in. And it's sitting on top. Buzzer goes off, 10 minutes, I have to step away from the piece.
At the end of the 10 minutes, the judges will come use a measuring tape to measure from the base to the top of the cylinder. You cannot pinch the top of the pot to manipulate it to be taller. If there's any areas that you have pinched to make it taller, it won't be measured from there. It will just be measured from the regular top of the rim. All hands will be off for this. You cannot support the structure with your hands.
Mug production prep, what you're going to do is you're going to take the cylinder or all the clay that you used in the first event and use it in the second event. There's plenty of time to take this clay and wedge it up and get it prepared for the next event.
Your team will be doing this on the table that's behind you. He's demonstrating this on the wheel right now so you get an idea, but you are using all the clay from this event and no more. So it's 1 box, which is 50 pounds. That's what we use for cylinder stack. We're just re-wedging that for the mug production.
All your clay has been prepared, handles and balls of clay determined by what size you want to throw. This is also a 4-person event and sequential order relay event. First person will go when the horn blows.
As we said earlier, this is all the clay that we prepared from the cylinder stack event. You may prepare these spheres beforehand and the handles. And as you see, Pete is throwing his mug. He would be like a second person right now because you go in sequential order with your team members of 4 and you remain in the same order. As you throw, you can remove the mug from the wheel. The mug must have a bottom on it. It does not need to be a specific size opening at the top, but it does need to be at least 4 inches tall. So keep that in mind as you are throwing. Team members may assist in cutting and moving the cylinders and the mugs to the table, as well as attaching the handles. So even though Pete is the one throwing this mug, he doesn't have to be the one to attach the handles. Someone else, another team member can. And you can attach the handles at any point in the 10-minute time frame. Like I said, each mug must be 4 inches in height, containing a bottom, and have a handle to be judged. Any mugs that are not at least 4 inches will not be counted at the end of the 10-minute time frame. The team with the most mugs at the end, with the bottom and handle, will win.
The next event is the no hands throw. This is another event with 4 team members and 1 block of clay. The block of clay may be prepared prior to the start of the event. So I've got my full block of clay that I've prepared, and at this point, I can use my hands to prepare it. The event has not started yet, so I've got my piece of clay ready to go, and now I'm going to wait for the horn to blow.
When the event starts, you may not use your hands or tools at all for this event. You can have team members doing various techniques to try and get your piece to be as tall and as wide as you can. You can use elbows, whatever you seem works best for your team. At the end of the 10 minutes, the vessel's height plus width is added together and the total inches wins. The finished product cannot be squeezed into an ellipse shape to increase the diameter of the rim. If so, the narrowest point will be measured. You can also not manipulate the piece after it has stopped spinning. So as Pete starts to throw, let's say the event ends, the wheel gets turned off, you are not allowed to touch it anymore to manipulate the shape.
The next event is the blindfold throw. Each team has to bring their own blindfold. I've got this beautiful lime green one for today, and we have to have 5 pounds of clay measured out on a scale, and that could be clay from anywhere in your clay for the day. So now I'm going to set my clay on the wheel and get ready to throw. The clay can be set on the wheel prior to the event, but now I'm going to put my blindfold on, and I've got my partner right over here, and I'm ready to go.
When the time begins, 1 student will be designated to throw the 5-pound piece as tall as they can. During this 5 minutes, only 1 team member throws, and the assistant can help by adding water and verbally telling them what they can do to make their piece better. You are not to use any tools during this event, just your hands and water for it, so no other tools. After the 5 minutes, the tallest hollow cylinder wins, and the form must have a bottom on it. So as you can see, he's using his hands to collar and bring it up. The assistant would be helping with the wheel or adding water. And at the end, hands go off, the piece stays on the wheel, and then it is measured. At the end, the judge will measure and cut open the vessel if needed to make sure that it is hollow all the way through. Any part that is closed from collaring at any point will be measured to that point. So it must be hollow all the way through.
Okay, so the event is finished. I'm ready to have this measured, but the judge sees that there might be a spot that's not hollow. So what the judge is going to do is they're going to cut the piece in half and see if it's hollow all the way through. And you notice this piece is solid right here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure from the base to this part right here, not to the top of the piece. So this demonstrates that this piece has to be hollow all the way through from top to bottom and have a bottom as well. The next event is the pot put event. This is another 4-person event. Each person on the team gets to take 3 mugs from the mug production, and they all get 3 shots apiece, so that's 12 shots total as the team. If you don't have enough mugs from your mug production team, another school will be very happy to give you some that they have left over. There's going to be 3 different cans. One is a 1 point, 2 points, 3 points of varying distances.
Each team member will toss their mug from the same point, starting point, as you choose which bucket you're going to go for. It is imperative that you do not ball up the mug. It must stay in mug form like that. You're not balling it up like a baseball. As far as scoring for the event, mugs that go directly inside of the bucket count for full points, depending on what one you're aiming at. Mugs that land and stick on the rim will count for full points. A mug that lands and falls off to the outside of the bucket does not count. So if it falls off and lands on the ground, it does not count. Mugs that land on the rim and fall inside the bucket count, even if a piece remains on the rim. The majority of it has to be inside or connected to it for it to count. Each mug toss is scored before the next one is thrown, which means if a mug lands on the rim and sticks, it counts for full points. If the next one is thrown and it knocks the last one off, it does not change the points. So as you can see, if he throws the second one and the other piece falls to the outside, we don't deduct points for that. They're all scored individually. The rims of the buckets will be cleaned before a new school throws.
The final event of the day is the hand building event, one of the most exciting events of the day. In this event, there are not a lot of rules. As many team members as you want to participate can participate. And it is a half hour long, so there's a lot of strategy involved, and the object of the event is to build the tallest structure that you can build within the 30 minutes. With this event, you'll get a new box of clay. You cannot open the box until the event begins.
For this event, you may use cutting tools to cut the clay up, but we are not using any other tools. You can use any variation of hand building techniques that you want to get your piece to be tall, and it does not need to have a base. The object is for this form to be the tallest structure with any variation of hand building techniques. At the end of the event, the team must step away from the piece with hands off. And the structure must stand freely for 15 seconds prior to measuring. If the structure falls, it will be measured at the highest point. The 15 seconds is a freestanding time that every team will have to adhere to, with hands off.